Hi again, Mark here from Talkingbass. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to give you a little introduction to playing through bebop jazz standards on bass by looking at the incredibly popular Billie's Bounce. Billie's Bounce is a bebop tune written by the legendary Charlie Parker, and it's basically a jazz blues. The melody is great practice in every way, from technique through to phrasing, and the overall tune is great for learning to both walk and solo through the chord progression. And it's absolutely essential for bass players getting started in jazz. Today we're going to have a look at the melody. As always, the lesson material and tracks can be found over at the Talkingbass website, so just click the link in the info below, and then while you're there, remember to take a look at the lesson map where we have over 400 free lessons on every topic imaginable, all systemized and organized for ease of navigation, so go check it out. Okay, so first let's have a quick listen to the melody that we're going to learn played over a backing track of the chord progression. Billie's Bounce was written by Charlie Parker, and it's not hard to find recordings of him playing the tune. But as well as Bird's original recordings, it's also worth listening to some of the recordings by other artists like Wes Montgomery, Dexter Gordon, and many more. You'll find they're played at a wide variety of different speeds, and once you've learned the tune, how to walk over it, and finally how to solo, there's so much vocabulary out there available for you to digest. So the main melody in a jazz standard is usually called the head. So we're learning the head to Billie's Bounce, and when you're learning a tune like this, it's a good idea to break it down into individual phrases. So let's have a listen to the first phrase in there, which sounds like this. So this is an F blues, and we begin on a C, and it's a pickup note into the first bar, so we're on the final eighth note of the preceding bar. So C, and then we're on B, C, okay? So here I'm playing it 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret on the A string, okay? So I'm playing it quite low down, because if you were to try and play it up the octave, it's quite hard to get all of these notes in there. So C, B, C, then up to the F, which I'm playing at the 3rd fret of the D string. Then I've got A flat to A up here, which is that minor third to major third on the F there. Okay, very common move in all types of blues and jazz. So that's 1st fret to 2nd fret on the G string. Okay, back to the F, 3rd fret of the D string, and then down to the D, which I'm playing as an open D, so. And then back to the F, then back down to the D, and we move between the F and the open D there. Okay, so. Okay, so all of that takes place on the F and the open D, so you can see it there in the written music. Now, in terms of the fingering that I'm using here, I'm starting on the 3rd finger, so that's the ring finger. So I'm playing that there for the 3rd fret, then I've got the 2nd finger for the 2nd fret, then I'm kind of barring across and moving so that I play the F with the 3rd finger again. And all of this sets me up for playing the A flat to the A with the 1st and 2nd fingers, which I'm playing as a hammer-on. I'm also playing a hammer-on from the B up to the C down there. Okay. After those F to D sections, we have this. Okay, so once again, A flat to the 8th, which is 1st fret to 2nd fret on the G string. Back to the F again, so it's that bluesy move again. Open D again. Then we've got the F, G, F there, so that's 3rd fret and 5th fret on the D string, and I'm using a pull off from the G to the F, so. So all of that together. Now, it has to be said, I have simplified this a little, because on the original we have a little triplet in there, which sounds like this. Okay, so you can play that, but I'm breaking it down because, you know, most of you are going to be beginners at this kind of thing. But what I would do in that instance is, instead of playing the A flat to the A here, the second time we get to it, I'd actually play it here, either sliding up with the fourth finger or playing it with the maybe second finger and third finger. So then we've got F, G, F, and then down to the D. So 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret on the D string, and then the D, 5th fret of the A string, and back to the F there. So it's a very quick little turn there. So all of that together. Okay, so that's how Charlie Parker originally plays it, but you know, on bass here, for most beginners, it's a lot easier to actually take out the little ornamentation and just play it straight like that. Next, we're over the B flat chord and we have this line. Okay, so we begin with an A natural leading into the B flat. So this is 7th fret to 8th fret on the D string, and I'm playing all of this up a little. You know, I've shifted position, and you'll see why in a second, because we're going to be moving up a little bit in register. So A to B flat, then down to the F, this time at the 8th fret of the A string, then the A flat there, which I'm playing at the 6th fret of the D string, and up to the B flat again at the 8th fret. So the first time it's a major 7th leading into the root note, and then it's the flat 7 leading into it. And this is over a B flat, so that first note, the A natural, is actually chromatic. It's actually just an approach note, a chromatic approach note into the B flat, whereas the B flat is actually the chord tone. So, and then we're up here. So we've got the E flat down to the C. So I'm playing that at the 8th fret of the G string down to the 10th fret of the D string. Then we've got the F and the E flat. So the F there at the 10th fret of the G string. So, and then back to the C at the 10th fret of the D string. It's all written out there. So that's the next phrase. So we've got two sections to look at there. So we've got the first part. So that's the first part, and then okay, so you want to get those two parts down first and then add them together. Next, we've got a cool little bebop phrase that sounds like this. Okay, so start on the E natural there, up at the 9th fret of the G string, and we come down to the G there, 5th fret of the D string, and then down to the E natural at the 7th fret of the A string. I mean, there's many different ways that you can play these things. You know, I'm just giving you a certain fingering and position, but remember, you know, if you're going to read through this, you know, just the sheet music, there are many ways to play. So we're coming down on this pretty much an E minor outline. Okay, then we have the F sharp up to the D sharp. Okay, so with 4th fret of the D string up to the 8th fret of the G string. Then this little chromatic line, we've got C, C sharp, D. 5th, 6th, 7th frets on the G string. Okay, now because we're going to be learning to play this quite quick eventually, when you play through this, I'd advise picking with the second finger there, and then coming down. When you get to that little chromatic part, pick the first note, the C, hammer on, and then pick the final, the D. So, okay, so you're picking that C, hammer on, and then pick, and it can take a little bit of doing to get the independence down. Okay? Next, we've got this cool little line starting up here on the G, which we'll be playing at the 12th fret of the G string. So we come down, G, F sharp, and D. So 12th fret, 11th fret on the G string, 12th fret on the D string. Then we come down B flat and then F. So B flat at the 8th fret of the D string, and then F at the 8th fret of the A string, and then up to the F at the 10th fret of the G string. So, Okay, so for the fingering here, I mean, again, there's many ways to play this, but I'm using the ring and middle finger for the G and the F sharp, and I'm playing a pull off there, then the D, and then just barring across with the first finger, just using a bit of joint barring there, just shifting the weight from one string to the next, and then we're up at the octave. So, okay. Lastly, we have this phrase. Okay, so F natural up at the 10th fret of the G string, down to the 9th fret for the E, so which we play twice. So what I'm doing here is playing the F, then pulling off to the E, and then picking. Okay, and then we've just got 2 notes on the D, which I'm playing at the 12th fret of the D string, and then down to the C. Okay, so. Okay, so, and then we finish up with just F and open D there, 3rd fret of the D string, open D string, so, and that's the whole tune. So now you want to put all of those phrases together. So remember, in turn we had, then we moved up, then, and finally. So if we play it through all of that very slowly, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the 8th notes we're playing here are swung, and it's worth mentioning a little about the phrasing here of those swung 8th notes. So, swing 8th notes are generally regarded as having a triplet feel. So, basically, instead of playing straight 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we play them like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, straight, and then as triplets, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Because what we're doing there is playing the 1st and 3rd notes of a triplet. So if you think of triplets, triplet, 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 we're playing triplet, 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 triplet. So we're playing the 1st and 3rd notes of the triplet. But the reality of jazz is that we don't really think in terms of rigid triplets, okay? There's very much a swing spectrum, and we tend to be more in the triplet style at slower tempos, but much more straight at faster tempos. So at a very slow tempo, we might play the head more like this, a lot more tripletified. So okay, so that's more of that triplet kind of feel. Then at a much faster tempo, things are going to be a lot more straight, more like this. So you can really hear it there on that top. Okay, it's a lot more straight. Now, it has to be said that even at a slow tempo, we do tend to straighten up those swing 8th notes a little. And, you don't really want to think in terms of rigid triplet feel. So even though, swing is classed as this rolling triplet feel, the reality of it is that you play it with a bit of you play it more straight with a little bit of a kind of triplet lilt. So you want to start out very slowly learning this melody. Don't worry about playing it to a click or tracks or anything like that to begin with. Just get those individual phrases down and then put them together slowly. So, as always, I've got backing tracks for you to practice to over at the Talkingbass website. Just click on the link in the info below. And I've got 3 different tracks. One at 110 beats per minute, then 160 and 200. So let's start with the 110 beats per minute track. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next track at 160 beats per minute is a lot closer to Charlie Parker's original recording, so let's try that. I've also provided a bonus fast track at 200 beats per minute that's closer to what you might have heard from guys like Wes Montgomery, so you get a bit of practice at playing it a lot more straight. Etc. So, Billie's Bounce is a great introduction to playing jazz, and learning melodies like this will help with learning how to phrase and improve your technique in many, many ways. Because bebop melodies contain a lot of chromatic lines and odd angular jumps, they're great for developing your playing, even at an early stage. It might seem fairly tough for you at first, but just start out slow and gradually build up your speed, and you'll even have a great jazzy melody under your fingertips. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll look at a few more elements of Billie's Bounce, such as the harmony, how to walk through it, and I'll give you some ideas on soloing and transcription. So give me a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also remember to check out the Talkingbass website, where you'll find the lesson material and tracks for this lesson. Okay? I'll see you next week.